Hey guys, what's up? This is another Beatles fan, and I haven't been posting for a while like I usually do. I usually stop posting for 2 months and then I come back and pretend that nothing happened. But this time I traveled. Actually, I went to San Francisco, to the US, and I went to Chile. These are two great places to get records. So, of course, I took the opportunity to get new stuff and I want to share with you guys. So I've got some jazz, I've got some 60s and 70s stuff, and I've got some Beatles stuff. So let's start with two new jazz albums I got from my collection. So basically, I'll show it to you guys. So we have Scenery by Ryo Fukui. This, of course, is a new classic. People were finding it out, they're discovering this record. It's a great cover. Look at that. Great back side too, with the pictures of the band. Of course, it's a trio, piano, bass, and drums. I don't think you need more than that for jazz, to be honest. So I got this in Chile for 38,000 Chilean pesos. I believe this is around $30 to $40. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the value. It's not the cheapest one, but I wouldn't find this at this price in Brazil. I haven't opened it yet. It's still sealed, but I'll do this, probably tonight. Still, and it's a great one. And you know what? My jazz collection, as a Beatles fan, I have a problem because we have tons of editions, tons of albums by the Beatles, by Paul, by John, by George, and by Ringo. So there's not much space, but most importantly, money to get all the records I want out of all the artists and all the genres I like. That is why, regarding jazz, I have a cool story actually. I only have one jazz album other than the two I got here on my Chile trip, and it is A Kind of Blue by Miles Davis that I actually got from my dad when he was in Chile. So there's plenty of vinyl record stores in Chile and with great prices, actually way better than the ones here in Brazil. So I figured, you know what, I'm coming back to Chile, why not get some new jazz records? And I did that. And most importantly, I want my jazz collection to be the essentials. I don't want the complicated stuff. I don't want, I could use for one or two B-sides, hidden gems. If you have any suggestions, actually, I'd appreciate it. But with jazz, I want to get the classics, and at least for starters, right? The other jazz record I got is a great one, of course. It's Duke Ellington and John Coltrane. In a Sentimental Mood, of course. It's a classic. People know it. It's not like I'm reinventing the wheel, but In a Sentimental Mood is one of my favorites of all time, really. It's so beautiful, man. It's so great. And this is a really cool edition. It's got a gatefold. It kind of looks like newspaper. The guys in the band here, some cool photos. We also have these liner notes that I haven't read yet. I haven't played this yet, but it's looking great. It's a bit hard to take this in and out of the sleeve, actually. The vinyl record. I mean, I don't know why that is. I'm not even gonna try to do it more right now because I'll just waste your time. Alright, so I don't know why that is, but I also got this in Chile and it was cheaper. It was around $15 to $20. I'd say it's new, it's sealed. I've just opened it up before recording, so it's looking pretty great. I love the matte on this cover. It's a special one, and it's a special cover also. I love it. It sets the mood. In a sentimental mood, right? It sets the whole mood for the record, I think. Alright, so these are my two jazz albums. You now understand what I'm kind of going at. Please recommend me more jazz albums you like on vinyl. And now we have three albums here that represent much of my non-Beatles favorites of the 60s and early 70s. So let's start off with an album that's becoming super special to me, which is There Goes Rhyming Simon. I hate this cover, to be honest. I don't like it. I like that, you know, each icon represents a song. It's something that Paul McCartney, I don't know if he's copied it, but it's the same idea that Paul did on his All the Best album. So, you know, if you open the gatefold, it looks like this. And you know, it's not that I don't like the idea, but I just don't like the composition, to be honest. This is an album that I am enjoying more and more for each listen. And we have here the gatefold also with lyrics, with some photos. So I got this in SF in San Francisco, and it was an astonishing $8. So, you know, I wasn't planning on bringing too many records because of luggage space, but this was a great deal. Of course, this is used. It smells like it, to be honest, but it's not looking bad. It's looking good, actually. It's got some scratches here and there, especially on the B side, and I haven't checked how it played, but I mean, $8 for $8, this is a steal, I think. The old red Columbia Records label. I hope it's playing well. For the looks of it, I would guess it's playing pretty well. I've seen records in way harsher shape that played well. So let's hope, right? And you know, this record has a certain factor to it that I can't recall any other album that does that. Which is, there's a song in here which is called Something So Right. I know it's a fan favorite, but I prefer the demo version, which is called Let Me Live in Your City. It was released on the deluxe edition of this one. And man, that song is just so incredibly gorgeous. I just can't fathom really why Paul Simon would replace it for Something So Right, which is, you know, the verses are the same. We have a different chorus, and I just feel like it's a weaker chorus. So I love Let Me Live in Your City. I like Something So Right. Anyway, we have, of course, American Tune, great classic, I love it. Kodachrome, and also St. Jude Loves Me Like a Rock. I love that one. I love the Josh Turner cover of it. And of course, St. Jude's Comet. So here's a picture of Paul with his kid. One of my favorites. The new Paul McCartney album, the new song, First Star of the Night, really reminds me of St. Jude's Comet. So, of course, it's a great record. Come on, it's Paul Simon. What would you expect, right? And still talking about American folk musicians, of course, Blonde on Blonde. I didn't get this in the US or in Chile. I got this as a birthday gift from my friends. So they bought me Blonde on Blonde, and it's a double LP. I gotta be honest, I am a fan of Bob Dylan, but I had, you know, circa a year ago, I did have a Bob Dylan phase where I was a bit obsessed with his songs, with his albums, but now I'm kind of off of that phase. I'm more in a Paul Simon phase, and so, you know, I don't listen to Bob as much as I did last year, but you know, things come and go, and of course I'll come back to him That doesn't mean I don't like him at all. Of course, I love him. He's my second favorite American artist. He follows Paul Simon on that one. I'm trying not to screw up the hype sticker, to be honest, because I like those. So while I talk to you, I'm trying to open this bad boy up. Not really succeeding, to be honest. I'll manage. And well, this has great songs, of course. It is my favorite Bob Dylan album. It is, you know, I haven't listened to Bob's entire discography, to be honest. So it sounds a bit cheap of me to say that this is my favorite Bob Dylan album, because of course I haven't listened to all of them. But you know, this is a special one. So it mentions here featuring Rainy Day Women and I Want You. I mean, I Want You is a famous song, especially here in Brazil. There's a Brazilian version of it by a great band called Skunk. But Rainy Day Women, really? I mean, come on. That's weird. That's a weird song positioning. Alright, so let's open it up. It's my first time unboxing this. Unboxing is a great word because it's not really a box, but anyway. So here it is. Blonde on Blonde by Bob Dylan. So it is a, is it? How does this work, man? I thought it was a gatefold, but of course it isn't, because what? No, it is a gatefold. Okay, it's just is it? Oh, all right. It was just the upper part here was glued to the gatefold was glued, so it opens up like this, which is very special. I'm kind of frightened that my record will fall down, but anyway, that's a great shot actually. And the inner gatefold has more pictures of Bob. Great pictures. So we have Rainy Day Women, we have Pledging My Time, I Want You, one of my favorites, Just Like a Woman, another great classic, right? We have Temporary Like Achilles, I love that one. Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands, one of the highlights as well. Recorded in Nashville, pretty cool. Let's take a look at the vinyl record really quickly. Pretty sure it's on a Columbia label too, yeah, the red Columbia label. So I won't bother looking at the side, the second LP. So yeah, it's a double one. It's great. It's again my favorite by Bob Dylan. And I'll definitely, I'll definitely come back to it. I've never seen this type of gatefold before. Have you guys? Please let me know down here. So Blonde on Blonde. Now we have a special one. And it is special because I am completing my Led Zeppelin collection. And by that I mean of the records from 1 to 4. And contrary to most Led Zeppelin fans, or I'm not sure actually, but I much prefer Led Zeppelin from 1 to 4, where they were bluesier, to the 70s Led Zeppelin of especially Physical Graffiti. Don't get me wrong, I like the album, I like the ideas, but my favorites are 1 to 4. But Led Zeppelin was a band that I really loved. They were my top 2 group after the Beatles for a while, but I've kind of fallen off, to be honest, and it's never been the same, you know, from maybe 3 to 4 years ago. I have delved more into the singer-songwriter stuff, again with Bob Dylan, with Paul Simon, with Simon and Garfunkel, with Johnny Mitchell. So I've kind of let my bluesy, rocky self go, in a way. Of course, you can't go wrong with Led Zeppelin, especially Led Zeppelin 3. Even though it is, you know, of the records I like most, it's the weakest one in my opinion, and some Led Zeppelin fans can, you know, argue with me in the comments, but out of the four first ones, I think this is the weaker one. And I gotta be honest, I am not sure what I should expect from the album's artwork, because I do know I can pull this and stuff will come off, right? How does that work? Oh, wait, so I turn it around? That's cool. Wow, I hope you're seeing it, right? I mean, you probably know all about this and I don't because I'm stupid. Wow, this is actually pretty cool. This is so cool, man. So you can maybe pick and choose your favorite. So we got Jimmy Page. Here we have John Paul Jones on the bigger circle. Of course, Bonzo, you are my favorite, man. That's actually so cool. I didn't know it. And Robert Plant. I believe this is the correct way of displaying the album. That is actually pretty cool. I'm glad I got this just for this. So we have, of course, it's a gatefold. We have a ton of psychedelic stuff. Of course, we got Immigrant Song, Friends. I love that one. Since I've Been Loving You. Come on, man. Wow, that's a great one. Braun Wire Stump. It's another favorite of mine. So, of course, again, it's not my favorite Lad record, but it's one of their best for sure, and the classic Planet label. I'm pretty excited to listen to this one, actually. It's been a while since I haven't played this record. So, it is exciting. I am having trouble putting it back on the sleeve again. Maybe it's on me. Alright, here we go. Led Zeppelin 3. I love the disky situation. Pretty fun. Alright, so now we have the real deal. We have the Beatles stuff. So let's start off by drinking some water because it's been 17 minutes of non-stop talking and recording. But alright, so first I'm gonna show you something very special. George Harrison's Brainwashed. This is a Japanese CD with an Obi strip. This is the reason why I got it, actually. I don't have Brainwashed on vinyl, not yet, and I haven't, so this is my first edition of Brainwashed ever. I quite like it. I think it's underrated, even though it is a posthumous record, of course. It was released by Danny Harrison and Jeff Lynne after George passed away. But let me take this off. So the Obi strip didn't really want to come out of the package. Let's try again. Here we go. We have Brainwashed. We've got Any Road, P2, Vatican Blues, Rising Sun, Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. And man, it's a fantastic one, I think. And what a picture, right, of Friar Park and its gardens and whatnot. So I don't have a huge CD collection, but this one I just felt like getting it. Look at this, the mannequin heads. Okay, so this is cool. So we have two booklets, one for the lyrics. There's a cool picture of George and a special thanks. This is so cool. Representation of the Brainwashed lyrics. And we also have a Japanese version of the booklet. which I can't read, so I don't know what's written in here, but I would guess it's the lyrics, you know, from how it's going. It's got maybe some liner notes in here as well. This is pretty cool, actually. Again, I don't get tons of CDs. When I do, they're special editions, just like these, or, you know, the old Beatles vinyl records. And this one was looking great. That's why I got it so brainwashed. Now we're into Beatles vinyl territory. And the first one is a simple but effective one. It's Let It Be, the remix by Giles Martin. And this is the only album that was missing from my collection from the remix series. Now, of course, they've just announced Rubber Soul, and it is great on vinyl, to be honest. My copy is a tad bit sped up, which is a shame because I have a really simple record player here in my room. I don't have the equipment to kind of slow it down a bit, so I gotta update my vinyl player. But you know, it sounds great. It sounds incredible, really. It sounds better than any version of Let It Be that I can remember. I believe it's half-speed mastered, so you know, it is a pretty easy remix in a sense. It doesn't hurt any of the songs. It actually kind of improves them in a way. I really like the Across the Universe remix. I think it sounds wonderful. But listening to Let It Be back to back, which I don't usually do, I usually listen to it, you know, on shuffle on Spotify. I don't like the album track listing, the order of the songs on this one. And I was taking a look at Let It Be Naked, and I think they did a better job. I mean, Two of Us followed by Dig a Pony followed by Across the Universe, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, to be honest. But of course, it's Let It Be. It's a classic. Gotta mention the quality of the photos. George's picture is definitely different than the, you know, the original, the classic release. All right, now we have, to top it all off, great additions to my collection because they are Beatles Capitol albums. And I gotta be honest, I haven't given them a spin, but I found them in a fair in San Francisco, so I got it. Oh, before I forget to mention, I bought this for $20, $18, something like that, so it was pretty cheap. And these ones were a tad bit more expensive, more on the expensive side. So these are Capitol albums. The only Capitol album I have on my collection, or that I had on my collection, was Meet the Beatles. Now I got more stereo original pressings. This is the Beatles' second album, so I bought it for $30. So it's not the cheapest record ever, but it's in pretty good condition for it being the original stereo pressing. Of course, we would prefer the monos, but you know, it is what it is. Look at this. This is freaking old, man. And again, I haven't given them a spin, but this one is looking fantastic. Actually, it's not the original pressing, right? Because it's got the Apple logo, so the labels definitely screwing me up. It doesn't have the Capitol logo, so maybe it's a 70s reissue. But it looks great. I gotta be honest, I don't care too much for the Beatles American albums or the American mixing. I like it for, you know, as a collection, you know, a collectionist piece. a real American copy, an old one. It really does bring me joy having this with me, even if it's not in the greatest condition ever. Something new. Here it says that it's a very good condition, so it has a bit of some wear and tear right here, but it's looking great. This is of course like a butchered a Hard Day's Night. And this one has got the capital label, the rainbow capital label. So I don't know at what time this was pressed in, but this is a little bit more beat up. Don't know if you can notice this. I don't think this would play excellent. You know, this probably will have some hiss. But again, I'm more on the completionist side, on the American ones. And you know, it's great for the story too. I was at a fair, I found the Beatles records, and I got it. Last but not least, the Beatles 6. I love this one. This is the only Capitol album that I kind of grew up on, simply because I like the photo, and it's got, you know, the Beatles for Sale era songs, but they're more on the B side, of course, if not for 8 days a week, and some of the Help stuff too. So this is a B-side record. All in all, it's got Kansas City, You Like Me Too Much, Bad Boy, Words of Love. So this is a special one for me. It is also in a not too great condition, so maybe these two were even bought by, you know, they were brought in by the same person. But you know, here's to hoping they don't play too bad, right? Anyway, guys, this is it. Tower Records. Hope you enjoyed it. My collection's growing. It's getting better all the time. And that's it. I hope you guys liked it. I will show off my new Beatles record for the thumbnail, actually. So hold on a second. I'll just do it something like that. Alright, I'll see you guys. Thank you so much.